Just for anybody watching, you know, I don't want to take for granted, oh, you know, I've been playing drums a long time and, you know, whatever, everybody knows that. It's like there's something to be said for just start out with the basics and get it smooth and get that feel. It's a little maze we're walking through here, and a little maze with drums in every turn. You know, little drums and triplets.
Well, let's get into triplets, man. I mean, that's very down that alley of drumming. And the one thing that, you know, I remember when I was starting out, I always thought triplets was like a jazz thing or like for blues and shuffles and stuff, right?
Right.
But that's not the case. I mean, there's some really cool things you can do, and you've got some great examples here. So I'll let you take it away, buddy.
Starting out, you know, it's a lot of this, pretty much everything that I'm going to cover here is keeping your hi-hat, keeping some quarter notes on the hi-hat. And as a kid studying privately, that was something, you know, when you'd be reading and you know, some jazz stuff in the books and going through it. It was always 2 and 4 the hat, you know, get some quarters on the hat, eighth notes, and that basic independence, because I think it's really important. It just helps your balance. If you're not really comfortable playing while keeping some basic time with your hat, it's, you know, and then you go to, you know, it can throw your balance off. So it really, and it's fun, man. You're dancing, you know, when you got that, you know. So tying it into triplets, I always enjoyed, you know, a John Bonham solo technique type of thing, which was, you know, it had the ching ring on the hi hat, and you kind of keep eighth notes rolling with ease and uhs on his kick, and, you know, just go off over it and create, you know, hills and valleys and stuff. And he'd eventually get into some triplet stuff, you know, and always having that going. So I kind of tied that into all this, and I just think it's important, you know, having your basic hi-hat dependence is really important. And once you feel it, like anything, and it's there, I think it improves your groove, which and it improves your confidence. You know, just you have that next little level of confidence. You go back to, you know, what you knew before that, and you're just playing a little more solid, a little more confident. And I really think, you know, your foot's not planted down there, and the only time it opens to, you know, is to do a hi-hat scoop or something, you know. Anyways, so yeah, I think it's just good basic stuff, but it gets into other, you know, it gets a little more advanced, but it starts pretty much with left-hand lead triplets broken between the hands and a foot. So the first one that we have is basically just you know, a left-right foot. And I lead lefty naturally when I do these kind of triplets. And so, of course, righty drummers, I think it's just much easier to start with your right. But I'm going to demonstrate where I started first. And it's real simple, just, left hand rack tom, right hand floor tom, kick drum, one triplet, So that's it with just keeping your quarter notes. That's the start of it, right? You build that up, and that's kind of the classic ending of rock drum solos.
Right.
Get that, but you get that moving. Being doing this more comfortably, leading with my left, it just creates this downward fall constantly. Basically. And when you're doing this, just make sure your left is locked with your hi-hat. And I give a lot of lessons. I watch some people kind of spacing out. They're looking into the, into the abyss, and they might be thinking, but I'm like, just kind of sometimes it's important to really look at what's going on. Just check it out. So that's the start of it. And basically in and out of a fill with that, out of a beat back into a beat, you'd have to kind of double up that 4-let of your bass drum into the 1 to crash into the 1. Back into the beat, so kind of like a. And that's a technique on its own. Just you get used to a lick, but you go, well, wait, how do I get in and out of this? How am I going to apply this tastefully and smoothly?
Yeah.
And that's that technique, getting that double on your foot. So even though that was whenever I learned something, I'd be like, okay, that's cool, but how am I going to use it? How am I going to get out of this? Because it's cool to have it, but if you're just going to do it for a solo and that's all you got, it's there's a lot of other stuff you can do with it. So that's the left-hand lead. You can just do that backwards. Same thing for righty drummers that are real comfortable leading with their right and not with their left. I'd start with get the right first comfortably, and then work on the left. But the right is just. Bring it around the kit. I'm doing there. You could start on the snare, whatever. The hand crosses, all that junk. But start slow, because it is actually harder to do this slow. Shuffles, triplets, man. That stuff.
Yeah.
It's slow shuffles. It's the slower you get, the more you're like, the more air there is, more space. So basically, the right hand, same thing, coming out with a double. And the next thing is get comfortable with it. Slow, medium, fast. Don't just start trying to put it into a beat. Start slow and even. Slow, medium, fast. Put on the click track. Go for a slow tempo. See, okay, we got to stretch this stuff out. Medium, fast. And like anything, it takes a little bit of time. When you get faster, it's actually, you're kind of flamming. You're doing a wide open flam. With your, it's almost like. Now, if I stretch those flams out. So that's exercise 1 and 2. You put it together. Sorry, exercise 2 is putting the stuff together. Left hand lead, right hand lead, and you alternate. Just a constant alternate. I generally, when I'm not thinking about it, start with my left. But
sure, yeah.
That would be. That's what's going on. It sounds a little awkward without the kick. You put that shuffle in. Put the basically your feet are shuffling. Right there, that little theme.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a theme you build off in a solo. I mean, reminds me of Steve Gadd. He always said he thinks of nursery rhymes when he solos.
No kidding.
Yeah, and I was like, it's great. And when if I'm comfortable enough, I go, yeah, that's a great, because he's a master. Gadd, top of the top. So if that's what he's thinking of, take that and give it a try. But little phrases, you make it, you learn something and try to use it musically, and you're catching the audience's attentions, or in the middle of a song, the band goes, hey, we got a little bar, fill here, do something musical,
Yeah.
So Yeah, that's the start of it, man. Just those are nice, big, fat rock triplets, and the hardest thing is getting comfortable alternating, you know. But like I said, slow, medium, fast. Keep that hi-hat rolling. When you're not really thinking about it, you're shuffling your feet, you know. So let's just go. Let's go 4 left leads, 4 right leads, and then alternate 4 times. You know, so. And you know, that's after you're nice and comfy with it. But man, before that stuff happens, I'd also, you know, like I said, start slow, but you know, record yourself. You know, really listen. And it's one thing when you think you have something, you play back. You know, you record yourself. Just put your phone right there.
You think
listen back and go. You know,
does.
okay, wait, it's a little shaky here or that. You know, but it's just fun stuff. It's fun, but it also, man, you can get around the kit, in and out of fills. You know, I mean, just the alternating one, just because I enjoy starting this stuff on my left. You know, I start right on the snare with like a. Snare, put that snare in there. All of a sudden, you have this different flavor because you're hitting the 3 trip with your left. You know. You know, and so just mess around with that stuff, but you know, get that nice and smooth first, and just don't forget about the shuffling.
Cool. Yeah.
The shuffling of your feet, because that's the most important thing. Even though it is less stretched out flam, you got to be aware of, you know, making your feet dance and shuffle. You know, so you know, and try it with a shuffle. You know, try. So that's kind of medium tempo stuff, but yeah, man. Let's
keep rolling.
Keep rolling.
Yeah, time goes by so fast.
Exactly. All right, we got like I don't know how many here, but we're on. We just did.
We're on number 3.
We did. Yeah, that was 3, right? So we got
3 is actually with the bass drum in the middle of it.
Oh, whoa! Hey, that's right. Yeah. I just saw the final edit. Here we go. Now that's a whole. We were even talking about this. Like this is another level because putting your foot on the trip is just a little more difficult. But when I thought about it, I'm like, okay, when I do this, what am I thinking about? I'm not thinking about that, oh, it's, you know, it's something that's not as comfortable. I think about my hand shuffling. So you get the first things together, and let's just say, let's leave the foot out for a second. And your hands, I have it on the toms, you know, let's just stick to the toms. Right, left, shuffling with your hands. You're basically... the first trip in, you know, just kind of see how that feels, you know, and you know, and it's a different feel, but I really try to think more about the you know, the shuffling of the hands, and that sort of falls, you know, the kick sort of falls into place, but it's not like that easy. It is a bit of a thing. Starting out, let's just put it on the snare and like a... You know, so it's when you get that stuff, you know, kind of at a nice up tempo and smooth. It's just another little thing. Getting out of that's a little different. Now you don't have that let one. You have. And try and put it into a beat kind of thing. You know, start out slow,
Yeah.
like we said, same stuff with
I
all this.
always found that one the hardest to do. It's getting it in the middle because I can always start with my bass drum and ending with the bass drum's easy, but for some reason the one in the middle was always the toughest one to play.
It is. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah, because I do. You know, that let on your kick is just a natural shuffle. You know, you keep in time. You got that. It's the more dancey feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, and with that, what was I going to say? I was thinking of something. Just maybe start out just putting the kick in like I did at first. Just put that first kick in and feel that. You know. It's an odd sound on its own. It's like not, you know, it's not that groovy and stuff, but you know. Just try and start with that guy and slowly but surely incorporate it on every trip.
Cool, man.
And
let's move on to number 4.
let's go on to number 4. Now this changes up a bit. It's triplets. Still keep those quarters on the hi-hat, but it's just a basic right, left, left. You know. That's all it is. And I'm just going around the drums. You know, and it was a snare accent. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, snare, rack, floor, kick. You know, and. Tricky thing is just leaving your right hand out and putting the foot in there, you know. You know, so get comfortable with that, and that's just, you can, you know, sit on your pad. That's just a, you know, a great technique right there. You know, like we're talking, you can talk about, okay, you have to have some, you know, to get that up to speed, you have to have, you know, solid doubles, solid control of pretty much a double stroke roll. You get that, get those whipping into shape, but it's nice and slow. Okay, it's an exercise. Move it around, do different stuff with it, you know. And that's the door opening to getting a little more dancey, and there's a little more technique going on here. But when you start with that, that was where were we? 4. We're gonna, if you move into 5, we're flipping the whole phrase. The whole right, left, left now becomes left, left, right. So if you just take that sound, you know, just that basic triplet right, left, left sound, that's right. Get that going. You got that comfortable. Now we're going to start basically with your left, doing a double stroke with the let on your right hand, and you're basically flipping this rhythm around. So you know, so just start. So right there, I have that basically the same. It's the same phrase as 4, the same pattern. You're going around the kit, but it sounds completely different.
Right.
You know, so. Maybe just try it once, because it's kind of when you come around the bar, back to the 1, and that 4, the let of 4s on your kick, and it's a little bit, you know, when you keep hearing those accents without a downbeat, it might be a little more confusing when you first start it. I think it's better maybe just try it once and end with the 1, so you really, you know, lock into, you know, your start and ending without trying to make it a big thing yet, you know, so just try and get that. And I do remember back when I was at Berklee College of Music, I remember the first drummer I saw do that, and I just loved the sound of that nice, that dancey triplet sound. But you know, and I was learning so much at once there, and I was taking it all in. And one of those things was, you know, now if you. Just as a side note, if you don't put your kick drum in, of course, you can just finish with your right hand wherever it is, and you know, put the downbeat on the left. So without the kick, just you know. But it's really making sure, once again, that hi-hat's locked up with those lefts. through a few kick drums at once. Just start making up little different phrases and stuff. But start with these exercises first, you know, and get them nice and smooth. This stuff starts to, okay, we're putting all this stuff
together. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
I think if we're going into 6 now. Let's jump into 6 real quickly. It's kind of a link lick. This is kind of starting to put in the things we've gone over, and the phrase that we're using is it's going to be 1 triplet, 2 trip with your hands, right, left, left. It's going to, and we're accenting the rights on the 1 and the let of 1. So putting the bass drum in on the let of 2. So just that lick before I play the whole thing is bringing it around the kit. Before I do that, that lick is. Doing is bringing my right hand around, you know, and so we're back to the let on the kick. So it was a little bit, you know, there's a little dancey feel in there, but it's just getting comfortable with that phrase. With this, it's, you know, basically a sextuplet phrase. You know, I'm taking out the last right and replacing it. And by doing that, first of all, it's a big old, nice, big fat bass drum at the end of that little phrase, but it opens up your hands to go so many other places, you know? So once again, just lick 6. Let me try and just throw that in a beat, you know? Keeping in 4/4, I'm throwing in another snare drum with the accents, and but the repetitive lick to work on was, you know, in 6/4, you know, kind of a groups of 3 thing. Okay, if I was sitting here and I went, oh, I'm pretty comfy with that, I might start moving my accents off of just one drum, do the first 2 accents on different drums. Same exact thing, whole different sound, right? You know. So yeah, and getting comfortable with that might be really first sitting there and getting the lick without the kick, you know. You know, and then trying to put your foot in place of that last right hand on the let of 2 and the let of 4. So that was lick 6. Let's see what happens next. Where are we going with this? We're kind of going backwards a half step. Lick 7. We're going back to the first pattern, the right, left. And what's happening here is, once I get through the first bar, just doing that, it's like the first bar is basically exercise 4. And the second bar is exercise 5. Putting this stuff together brings us to exercise 7. That, I'll play it once, see how it all sounds, and I'll kind of explain the first side and the second side. Bar 1, bar 2. The first side, so what I'm doing is I'm taking those 2 exercises, 4 and 5, making the first bar of lick 7 just the straight down beats with your right hand, and I'm flipping. And as soon as you get to beat 1, you basically do a right, left, right with that accent, which is the first accent of exercise 6, the first beat, which is just right, left, right. And that's kind of that's the turnover lick right there. That's how, you know, when I first started putting this together, I was like, okay, that's the turnover. As soon as I got that going, I can flip my right hand to the other side. So that was kind of what I liked about this. So
number 7's taking 4, 5, and 6 and conglomerating them all together.
And 6 was the linking lick. That is the linking lick to get that. So you take that lick, and now that's the middle of licks of exercise 7. That is beat 1 of bar 2. Putting it all together, that's kind of the only tricky thing. But once you get comfortable with that little link right there, now you're on the other side of the beat with your right hand.
Play us a groove and play that as a fill.
Okay, so the 7 is. So in context. You know, and through all this, you know, when I start these fills, It's not like I guarantee to always keep the hi-hat going, but in you know, for practice purposes and for independence, yeah, keep, you know, be cognizant of that, you know, even though you're not keeping time with your hi-hat with your foot yet, you know, when you get into that fill, just, you know, or another thing I do, keep it going the whole time, do this all on the ride. You know, that's, you know.
Okay, so
yeah.
Number 8, number 9A, and 9B, they're all kind of variations of this. So if you guys want, you can go through this on the PDF and really dive into that further. But I want to get you to jump down to number 10A, B, and C, because these are just one little, little chord note almost. Like, explain what these are for and how you would use them to practice.
Yeah, these are like extensions. When these other things we've gone over are comfy, I was like, okay, what's some other stuff that I tied in when I was working on all this, you know, the first time I was trying to get all this type of stuff together. And 10A is simply just it's a double stroke. It's one trip with your foot. Once again, we're always, you know, incorporating the foot with all this stuff. So it's just a repetitive exercise. Good thing is you're dancing with your feet.
Yeah.
You know, and just you put that click on and sit there and try and make that swing, you know. That, all right, and then just flip it. Now we're gonna work on it with your left hand. Same thing. You know, and I'm stopping with an accent, just to kind of finalize it. You know. Yeah. Okay. In a beat, as a fill, which I probably don't do much. It's more of like something within a solo, triplets within the rock soloing and stuff. But yeah. But what we're leading to with that little exercise is leading to trying to alternate the two hands. And what happens is then you can start putting that stuff in all those other ideas. Yeah. So alternating. And when I think about this, I'm like, okay, I can just start with the doubles or start with singles and just shuffle the foot with the singles just to get the motion together, get the feel together. And so we're going into 11A. This gets back to another sextuple pattern, which is right, left, left, right, right, left, and then foots, right? So I'll just do that over and over. 11A. A nice like little shotgun fire sound, you know what I mean? I just right on its own, just a. Okay, then I'm assuming for righties that's probably the easier one. You flip the same lick to the left side. That becomes left, right, right, left, left foot. So that would be 11B, which is. Just once again, pay attention to that hi-hat, make sure that your feet are swinging, and start out nice and slow. So we have the right side, and I just jumped it over to the left, which once you work on these two things, I think most of us would be like, well, I've got that side and that side, let me see if I can put that together.
Right.
All right, which I'm looking at. There's your C. There's your 11C. It's a little maze we're walking through here, and a little maze with drums at every turn. Little drums and triplets. So 11C. Just I do have this happening between toms. So what I just demonstrated was strictly on the snare, but I'm just throw your right hand floor tom, left hand rack tom, and basically. as I do the slow, I realize I've got to lock that hi-hat up within that roll. I've got to pay attention to that double stroke locking right up that in the middle of those licks. Right there, that right hand. And then on the same side on the left. You know, just pay attention when that double comes in. Just kind of stop, and that's where, you know, you want to make sure that note is right there.
Yeah. Love that one.
It's it's fun
when you
stuff.
put that backbeat in there, it sounded so good.
Little spidery, It's rock sounding, but it's like it reminds me a little bit of like that Gadd stuff when he would whip out those crazy tasty licks and with his tight sound, it was all precise and stuff. 12.
Let's do number 12. Man, this one sounds great too.
So is this one what? Okay. Oh yeah. That's right. That's when I was making this up. I was like, what is the next thing? Let's put all that stuff together. We're going to put the 10s together. We're going to put the 11s together and make it a big old 12. It's going to start with the 11 licks and finish with the 10 licks. So we're going to start with what I was doing with basically 11C. Just going one time around. Right hand lead, left hand lead for beat 2. Beat 3 now starts the 10A and B, which is 10C. It's going to start the 10C alternating double strokes, and now and then your foot just doubles up because now it's on every end of the triplet. Here in the first half, it was every 6th beat. It was at the end of every 6-note phrase. Now it's going to be at the end of every little 3-note phrase. So. And then you start, whatever. I'll do this first, then you start getting crazy with it. But this would be, here's 12. Right there, that's the first half. Okay, and then we go. You know, 12.
Dude.
Let's do it. Let's throw it in a beat. Let's see. Bump it up one notch. And there you go.
Love it.
There you go. A lot of triplets, getting you around the kit, opening up ideas, and I had a blast with this when I first started messing with this stuff. I was like, man, this is just so much you can do with it,
Well, just the amount of mileage you can get from this, and that's why we call it effective triplets for rock. Yeah. Because just getting that little foot in there, it's deceptively difficult. A lot of drummers call it the Bonham triplet, but just getting the right-left kick, right kick, left kick, like that's actually really tough to do, and to make it sound good, and like you said, to swing, like almost like you're dancing, and then to get your left foot on the hi-hats in there to lock everything in. It's tough, but you can get so much mileage out of this, and I remember so many times listening to drummers. I'm just wondering, how the heck are they doing that?
Yeah.
How are they doing that?
Yep.
And so this is it, and don't take this stuff lightly. All you drummers out there, spend the time, because listen to how good Brian sounds with these patterns. And it's slow. I bet you most of you guys could probably do this, but making it sound good, going in and out of it.
Yeah, just making it fluid. I mean, it's swinging its triplets, and it's just just getting that thing, ducking and weaving around, within the groove, and but it's fun stuff because it's not your normal, rock stock fill stuff, but you can make nice phrases out of it and weaving around the kit, just starting to put all these patterns together, So ultimately, if you were, doing it solo with this type of stuff, I wouldn't be necessarily thinking, okay, I'm going from A into B into 4 to 6 or whatever, but I'm going, okay, try and be musical with it. I think there's a lot of musicality in this. I think once you start, you know, just, you know, you know what I mean?
Make your own nursery rhymes.
Exactly. You know?
Do you have anything to add, man? We covered a lot here.
You know what? When we started, I was like, yeah, we're gonna get deep into this, you know. And we started out with the basics, but you know, just for anybody watching, you know, I don't want to take for granted. Oh, you know, I've been playing drums a long time, and you know, whatever. Everybody knows that. It's like there's something to be said for just start out with the basics and get it smooth, and get that feel.
And well, you know what the rub is that. A lot of drummers, they want to do these crazy advanced lessons, and I'm like, well, you know, drummers who are advanced, they don't really need the lessons. They can figure that out themselves. It's the beginners that need the lessons. It's the early intermediates that they hear this stuff and they just want to know how to play it. Right?
Yeah, and that's what when we were talking, I wanted to do stuff that I think can open up, you know, your imagination and your ears and your technique. You know, just with some stuff that might start out simple, but it gets into some heavier stuff that can be musical and, you know, builds up some chops as well, you know what I mean?
Well, I appreciate it. John MC in the chat says, wow, what a fantastic lesson. I know what I'm doing for the rest of the day. Good, you got some homework.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very nice to hear.
Okay, so we're leaving it there because we have so much more we're going to do with I was going to say John, but that's
well, he should come on in too.
Yeah, you can come on out here, John. But so much more we're doing with Brian tomorrow inside of Drum U Edge. We're going to do a whole course just on the tricks behind the grooves and the fills that Bonham did. We've got some performance pieces that we're going to be filming, some solo stuff. We're going to talk about some of the gear that we're using and all that. So that's filming tomorrow, and it will be in part of Drum U Edge. And if you guys are watching this in YouTube, you want to check it out, just go to drumu.com/trial. You can try it out. We're going to get you to play us out, if that's cool.
A what?
Yeah, surprise!
A what?
Surprise! I need you to do us a solo, and I'm not joking.
All right.
Yeah,
all right.
You to do us a solo. But you know, use some of the stuff. Use some of the tricks that we use. I always like seeing where you can take these exercises. Yeah, you know, it's a great inspiration.
Yeah. When we were talking earlier, I thought that would be the best thing to do. Is like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, just kind of look for some stuff, you know, just look for some bits and pieces of what I covered. I'm just going to kind of improv with it, you know, and try and be musical, try and, you know, get in and out of different themes. It won't all be triplets, but that's another thing, you know, it's getting from your straight 16ths and phrases and themes, then shuffling those phrases or going into triplets, you know, it's a big, awesome, open road of great ideas for soloing, and I have a lot of fun, you know, playing this kind of stuff. You know?
Well, thank you so much. Hey, for coming out to Drumeo.
All right.
For sharing this stuff with the community. If you like this stuff, make sure you follow Brian online. Just find him on Facebook. You can find him on Instagram. Just Google his name too. BRIANTICHY. If you can make it to a Bonzo Bash, please do so, but I know it's hard to get into those sometimes. Yeah, come on down, man. It's a big venue. We always have a great time. It's always a lot of fun, you know, for sure. And that's why I'm so happy this you know, Uli and Ludwig made this work, because it all was like, if we're going to do this and we can get this kid in here and we're going to do it right, put a little time in to try, you know, tune it for the room, get the mics in the right places, let's listen to the blend. I love tones as much as just drums, you know. Everybody's got their own tone, and how do they achieve that? And this was always one of those sounds. But you've got a great ear for that. We spent a lot of time before just checking all the EQing and the mic placement and everything like that. So hopefully we do it justice, and I'm sure we will, and you're going to do it justice with your playing and teaching. So I'm going to leave now because I don't want to hear my voice anymore. I want to hear your drums. So play us a cool solo, man. And all right, we'll see you later. Well, thank you. Bye bye. I'll see you out there. Yeah.